Okay, hello everyone, and welcome to AgeWell's National Impact Challenge. This is the third competition that is taking place virtually. It is the final one for this year, and this is for startups from Canada that are kind of to the west of Ontario, essentially. So we had a lot of applications coming in from provinces and territories, and we came down to 5 finalists as for the last competitions, and we're going to get to hear them pitch today and get to see some exciting innovations. However, what I'd like to do first is to introduce our judging panel, which have been able to give of their time to judge and ask questions of these competitors to make sure that we pick a strong winner from a competitive field. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to the judges for some introductions, and I'll start with Marie.
Thank you very much, Mike. So my name is Marie Lashley. I'm Director of Regional Sales for Chartwell Retirement Residences, and proud to say we're the largest operator in Canada, and we span the spectrum of anywhere from long-term care to independent living, memory care, assisted living. And we're in major provinces, so BC and Alberta, Ontario, and Quebec. And very happy to be part of this today and supporting some of our up-and-coming businesses and what they're doing to support the seniors across Canada. So it's just, very excited to be here and be part of this. So thank you.
Great, thanks, Marie. Martin, you're next on my screen, so go to you.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Martin Vandervelden, and I'm a Vice President with Best Buy in Canada. I've been with the organization over 25 years. For over 10 years, I led the merchandising division for Best Buy, which is buying and selling of all of consumer electronics in Canada. And for the past 2 years, I've been working to start up and stand up a new team called Best Buy Health. We have a belief that technology is going to emerge that is going to help people live better lives. And so as a result of that, we think Best Buy has a hand in that as this technology becomes connected to the internet. And we're looking forward to growing that in the upcoming years. And thanks for having me today. Look forward to this.
Thanks, Martin. And Greg, last but not least.
Hi, everybody. Good afternoon. It's a pleasure to meet everybody, and I look forward to the event this afternoon. My name is Dr. Greg Christie. I'm the Chief Technology Officer at Digital Health Circle. DHC is a not-for-profit innovation center attached to Simon Fraser University, and we're also the third of the 3 national AgeWell innovation hubs. Our specialty is in the space of digital health technologies for healthy aging. The purpose of DHC is to act as the not-for-profit connector between expertise and domain expertise in Canada's academic systems with Canada's digital health technology developers. And in particular, we act as a point of excellence with respect to healthy aging and technology issues for Canada's older adults.
Great. So looking forward to this. And with that, we're going to bring in our first competitor for pitching and give them a chance to set up.
As people age, there are 2 outcomes. You can either age gracefully and be happy, or you can age unhappily, live short, miserable lives, and die pretty much soon. Hello, my name is Sharon, and I'm a seasoned nurse that has worked in long-term care facilities over the last few years. And while on the job, I met one of my residents, Mr. Lee, and I realized that he spent most of his time in the sunroom and would not engage in the recreational activities. Now, this really broke my heart because I knew he just had so much more to offer. And I was talking to my co-founder, who's also a nurse, and we realized that we had a pressing issue at hand. The reality is you can be surrounded by so many people that love you, but still feel lonely and isolated at the same time. In fact, as we dug much deeper, we found that social isolation equates to smoking up to 15 cigarettes a day, which is quite unbelievable. Social isolation affects everybody equally, but more so seniors who have physical and mental issues Aboriginal seniors, and seniors who are newcomers or immigrants into Canada who lose the ability to speak English as they age through the dementia process. 6.7 billion, that's how much social isolation is costing the public as well as government every year in additional funding when it comes to the costs. The health implications of social isolation are also quite detrimental. It increases your risk of cardiovascular disease, depression, and dementia, as well as your medication and substance abuse dependency. And like I mentioned before, it also increases the healthcare utilization costs through unnecessary emergency room visits and physician visits. That's why at GTCare, we are focused on increasing the health span of people like Mr. Lee, as opposed to his lifespan. Through our proprietary technology, we are helping to mitigate the effects of social isolation of Mr. Lee and thousands of seniors across Canada. With our unique algorithm, we help Mr. Lee and his family find the best matched companion that will meet his individual needs, such as gardening, attending Chinese festivals, or simply speaking in his native language. Some of the key features of our product is that it's designed in the LTC, the long-term care space, with scalability into the community. We've also designed it to be interoperable so that it can capture health data outcomes that's typically missed when it comes to companionship care. And most importantly, families now have the autonomy and the transparency to choose the best trustworthy companion for their loved ones. We have identified some players in the industry, such as Papa Pal in the US, and in Canada, home care agencies such as Home Instead and Nurse Next Door. We set ourselves apart by our industry expertise in long-term care, our incorporation of clinical data outcomes in our product, as well as our adoption to digital and solutions is extremely high. Besides GTCare, we're looking at different products that we can incorporate into a solution over the next few years, especially now with the COVID pandemic. The market, the geriatric care service market in North America is a $420 billion industry and is rapidly increasing. As you can tell as well, in Canada, the population keeps on doubling every year. Our total addressable market is the current 300,000 plus seniors that are in BC, with an expanding market of 1.4 isolated seniors throughout Canada. Mr. Lee and his family have an option of receiving basic membership, which would include free subscription with an hourly rate of service for up to $30. I would afford him the services listed to the left. Or he could upgrade to a premium membership, which is basically the same thing as a basic plan plus a monthly subscription of $40 an hour. $40, with the services listed to the right. We received a small grant in December 2019 from Kabai and initiated our product development then. And through the year, we have progressively done a few challenges and entered into different collaborations. Most recently, we're in discussion with an organization in Europe to help us with our social isolation product as well. Our team has over 25 years of healthcare experience. Though we're currently working on the GTCare product at the moment, we've been together from late 2018 and have been progressively winning different challenges. We're hoping to increase our marketing and sales force department as well. With the funding received from AgeWell, we are going to put it into marketing, into further development, as well as customer acquisition. Over the next 2 to 3 years, we will look into licensing our product into different care facilities, as well as getting government buy-in to help put social isolation at the forefront. And also, we are very excited for any mentorship that will come with AgeWell.
Okay.
We thank you for your time. Thank you, AgeWell, and I invite your questions.
Okay, thank you, Sharon. I guess with that, we'll start with the questions. I don't know if any judges want to start that off.
Sure, maybe I can jump in with the first question here, if that's okay. So it's a very interesting service. I'm a little curious about what your recruitment strategy is, both for older adults themselves, but also for companions. Can you speak a little bit to that?
Yes. So part of our go-to-market strategy and the recruitment strategy for the companions. We are currently working with a host institution, Beacon Hill Villa in Victoria, and we did a soft launch in March 2019 before COVID hit. And the recruitment process was to first have them use the product at the beginning while we're still under development, and then having them jump on board after the product is fully done. We've also looked into different colleges around us that have nursing students, like Comerson College in Victoria. We're looking at UVic and doing sort of like presentations and recruiting them from that perspective as well.
Hi, Marie Lashley here. Question for you. You mentioned some partnerships with some retirement communities. Can you speak a little bit more to that and what you think that might look like? You know, a lot of retirement communities do consider home care at times in competition. And so what does the, you know, the relationship with retirement communities look like going forward?
Yes, so the partnerships with them, and currently our biggest selling point right now is the health data outcomes that we're looking to incorporate within the product. So the partnerships, we would approach them with that standpoint that as a loved one receives companionship care, they'd be able to get the outcomes. For example, there's an index of social engagement that typically such facilities would use to measure the quality of care throughout the year. So that would be our selling point to those institutions, to do a presentation to show them what the product can do and what outcomes they'd be looking to receive from us, as well as how that can drive costs down when they have the product on hand.
I had a question for you. So there's a lot of organizations, especially in communities, that offer this type of service, companionship services at the local community centers. And obviously they're getting funding through their local authorities and donations and stuff. Have you guys thought about trying to approach those type of organizations to go digitally rather than just do it physically in community centers?
I'll answer your question two ways. We do have an organization right now that we're collaborating with. They're a companion care company. Their name's Kulea Love, and they offer similar services. So instead of competing with them, we're working with them to make sure that they could also use part of our product as part of their management tool. The second part, where you talked about the community centers or going directly to the community centers, yes, we have thought about that, and we are working on streamlining the process so that we're not working against each other, but rather working with the community centers as well.
And follow up on that question. So you guys are a profitable organization, right? Not a non-for-profit. Have you come to numbers as to how much membership you think you're going to need to be viable and sustainable?
We have not gotten to that point yet. Yes, we are a for-profit organization, but not yet. We have not looked at the subscription rate or the membership rate that we would need to look into.
There's time for, maybe at least one more question if anyone has any more.
Sure, I can jump in with another question. With respect to current global conditions around COVID, I'm curious what effect, if any, that has had on your group strategy. Is this a challenge or is this an opportunity to you?
Yes, let me just pull this up. So it has been definitely a challenge. Like I mentioned, we did a soft launch in March 2019 and March 2020, and family was very excited for us. So we've had to adapt different ways. Currently, we're doing a lot of the meetings online, as well as doing product iterations that were scheduled for basically this time. We've been doing them throughout the summer. We're very aware that family needs to see their loved ones, so we've given them that space. We do have a group of family members that were actively engaged, but they had to drop off with the COVID. We're looking to incorporate more virtual visits with our product, as well as having more meaningful engagement when it comes to virtual visits, because that seems to be lacking. And then in the future, to make sure that COVID or nothing like this happens before, incorporating safety screens with our product as well for staff, for residents and families as well.
Okay. All right. Well, that takes us to the 5-minute mark. So thank you very much, Sharon, for your pitch and your answers to the questions.
Hi, everyone. I'm Dan, one of the co-founders here at 7 Movements. Good afternoon to the judges. So what we do is we actually build online programs that teach people how to use microdoses of movement to prevent pain, increase energy, and prepare for the activities they love. So think about how we're usually getting exercise in the gym in 45, 60-minute bouts exercise. We teach people how to do small, frequent doses of movement throughout the day to help their bodies get prepared for whatever activity they might want to do. Maybe that's the gym, maybe that's not. No problem here. There we go. So what sort of led us to deciding to start something like 7 Movements is John and I, my co-founder and I, we were both personal trainers, and we were kind of seeing all the statistics everyone else was seeing, and that was about 1 in 5 Canadians hitting recommended exercise targets. And we're seeing that from seniors all the way down now. Participation just released their report cards on youth, and it's about the same number, 1 in 5 hitting recommended exercise targets. And at the same time, now this is pre-COVID, the exercise industry was thriving pretty good. There seemed to be a new program starting every other day, a new studio opening. But we just felt that the exercise industry was leaving too many behind. So we asked ourselves the question, why? And we looked at all these new programs coming out, and they really focused on 2 things. They focused on complexity and intensity. And unfortunately, for some people, either they're not ready for complexity and intensity, or B, they just don't like it. They don't like working out that hard and with that complicated of a movement structure. So at 7 Movements, we're trying to flip that on its head, and we're focusing on simplicity over complexity and frequency over intensity. And really what we did is we asked if we create programs that would allow people to use small doses of movement, small dose of structured movement as a way to prepare and recover for the activities they love. So again, rather than kind of getting all of our exercise in a 60-minute bout at the gym, could we teach people how to use just small doses of movement and make those doses really effective to prepare their body for things that they love doing? So what really got us into talking about seniors and senior care is a story about my grandma. I grew up on a farm in small town Saskatchewan, on the same farmstead as my grandma. All my memories with her are in the garden. And I watched over time her body sort of deteriorate from, having that hard farm life and maybe spending too much time in the garden without the proper preparation and recovery. So I ended up asking John, hey, John, how many movements or what kind of program could we build for her that would have helped her prepare to go in the garden so her body wouldn't have broke down like that? Because there was no way I was getting grandma into the gym. It'd be impossible. In fact, if I asked her, I'd probably get kind of one of her patented cuffs upside the head. So John said, I could probably do in about 7 movements. And that was our first book. We wrote 7 Movements to Keep You Gardening for Life. So this is John, the co-founder here, about 20 years of experience. He's just one of the best movement exercise programmers that I know. And he is basically our chief movement engineer and builds all the programming that goes into our 7-minute solutions that teach people how to use these microdoses throughout the day. So our current program focused on seniors is focused on prevention. So this program is running right now, and it focuses on prevention of pain and injuries and preparing for the activities we love. It goes over 60 days. People commit 7 minutes a day to learning these strategies, and by the end of it, they have a whole toolbox of things they can use to help them move better and feel better doing things that they enjoy doing. What we're looking to get some money for is to expand our seniors programming and build a programming specific for caregivers of seniors. One thing we've learned is we have a lot of caregivers taking our senior programming now in order to deliver it to someone in their care. So we'd love to build a program where we teach caregivers how to take care of their own bodies while simultaneously giving them the tools to implement that 7 Movements programming with people in their care. Our revenue model, we like to keep things pretty simple here at 7 Movements, just like we do in our programming. We deliver our programming through online courses or a LMS, a learning management system. And we do this directly to caregivers and seniors. So they sign up and they take the course, essentially. And then the second part of our revenue model is we'll license out our programmings to existing solutions. So there's some just amazing providers out there who have technology solutions, but they could really use some programming that's directed at seniors. So that's where our programs come in and deliver through that.
Okay, Dan, unfortunately, we've reached the 5-minute mark.
Okay.
So we will go over now to the judges' questions. Again, I'll ask if any judges want to start.
I can jump in perhaps with the first round of questions here. So it's a very attractive solution here. I'm curious what your strategy is to define your solution and protect your product against competition.
Right. No, it's a great question. It's we're really first to market trying to do this type of strategy specifically around the microdosing of movement. And when we kind of look at the marketplace, like you say, we've got 20% of people hitting these exercise targets, meaning that we've got 80% of people who aren't. So if our company's one that others want to replicate and start getting people thinking about this idea of microdosing movement as a solution, I think it's only going to benefit us in the long term.
Hi.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Right.
Go ahead, Marie. Go ahead.
So as somebody who has gone to a personal trainer and used a personal trainer, I find that the importance of having them actually watch what you're doing and see your movements and correct your movements is critical. Once I come back home and try and replicate it, even though I've been with somebody and it becomes very challenging. So how are you going to ensure that, these seniors or caregivers are actually doing these movements correctly and getting the benefit from it when they're just, watching a video?
Right. Another excellent question. So when you look at our programming, any of our programs start very foundational. The movement itself is not complex at all. And it's delivered in kind of what we call monkey see, monkey do. So you're following the trainer on the screen and mimicking their movement. So while they won't have someone with them, technically, the course is built in a way, strategically in a way that allows them to build that foundational movement and then work their way up. The first few days of any of our programs are going to be pretty simple for most people. And then we start to layer in little bits of complexity as we go.
Dan, I've actually spent a little bit of time on your website. I think it's fantastic. And then when you talked about the program and the way you work. So for me, when I look at it, my biggest concern would be how do you make money and how do you stay alive? Obviously, the two of you have a lot of knowledge that you're leaning on here, but in order to operate that website and a live chat, you must have some third-party partners, I'm assuming. To me, it seems like it'll be really tough. You're going to need a pretty good-sized membership.
Yeah, where we're moving is initially 7 Movements was actually looking to become sort of more of an OTT platform or subscription-based, and people would kind of go on there and stay as long as they could. However, we found that a more education model was going to be more effective for us. So now we have folks actually taking a course and walking away with a skill set. And what we're finding is then they're layering on and taking another course with us and starting to ask us about coaching and things like that. So I think the next evolution of 7 Movements, beyond kind of just these online courses, which will always be our foundation, we'll be kind of layering on a coaching aspect to speak to Marie's point of some people wanting kind of a more of a personalized one-on-one approach.
Okay, we do have time for one more question if anyone.
I mean, yeah, I just have one more to sort of build on some of the questions that have been asked. When somebody they go through that first session, and at the end of it, what do they do at that point, right? When they've completed their however many days, do they keep going? Is there, do you have programs that continue the intensity up until they're moving?
Right. No, I understand the question. So our current senior program, it is a 60-day program. And what we're finding is they're then moving into what we call our Fresh Start program, which is an ongoing sort of year-long coach-led assisted program that takes them to that next level. Like you say, some people want to jump right into working with us one-on-one. And when we start looking at their movement ability, it's important to kind of take them backwards before we move forward, because they just lack the movement skills to get moving. And the whole idea of microdosing movement is new to them. So that's kind of the strategy, to move them from just our baseline programs into something a little bit more robust and ongoing.
Okay, great. So thank you, Dan. That takes us to our 5-minute mark. And thanks so much for your pitch and for the Q&A.
Hi, everyone. My name is Kenya Kondo, one of the co-founders of MatchWork. MatchWork is an online platform that connects people to meaningful work. And one of our target audiences is older workers. As I'm sure you're all aware, there's a growing population of older workers in North America and globally. And I think that's become more evident, especially during the time of COVID and the pandemic. The issue here is not only connecting people to a job, but something that is meaningful for them and their families, and in turn by that to our society and communities as a whole. And that's a problem and challenge faced not just by older workers, but also by governments, employers who are working and supporting older workers, and organizations that are geared towards supporting older workers. One of the key questions here is transition. How do you leverage all this knowledge and wealth that is potentially moving on to different sectors or leaving the sector altogether? But then you're also looking at older workers from two paradigms. One, those who need to continue working, usually due to economic reasons, but also a growing population of those who want to continue working. And one of the key drivers for that is social connection. And so what MatchWork does is three main things, largely looking at organizations, but also at individual older workers. One is we help organizations and governments and employers get a better sense of older workers through our labor survey feature and platform. What we do is we humanize that process. So here you look at one of our partner organizations, Communities United. They've created an online portal with a video that welcomes the audience into the process, about the questions they're going to go through, what the outcome is going to be. Each person then gets an individualized work profile. This work profile sets the foundation for their vocational journey, especially if they're making a transition. And what that means is it helps them clearly identify what meaningful work looks like for each person, but then leveraging the power of technology, we're able to scale that up to thousands of people at the same time. But the insights and outcomes are very unique to each person. We're able to show them what meaningful work looks like for them. If they're currently in a meaningful work context, what are the gaps that they need to address before connecting to that meaningful working outcome? At the back end, what we share with organizations and in turn with employers and governments is insights into potential barriers to meaningful work, and as well potential opportunities to connect people to meaningful work. And in the platform, this creative dashboard that gives organizations a really nice visual snapshot and overview about not only demographic information, but again, a very specific key points about work opportunities and work barriers. Our current business model is a software model, a software as a service model. We've got 3 license tiers, largely focused right now on nonprofit employment supporting organizations, and then in turn, some economic development organizations. As we continue and grow, the plan is to then become a backbone infrastructure for labor and market information, especially from this meaningful work context, looking at older workers. So key parts of that would be switching our platform more from a B2B SaaS and more of an integrator through APIs and integration of key partners. Some of those key partners here would be solutions and platforms like Randstad or Bamboo HR. And the idea here is to help employers, especially who have this population of older workers, create meaningful transition programs and opportunities for these older workers, and in turn for governments as well to leverage better data and information to create support programs and outcomes for older workers. Currently, we're working with a number of different organizations. We started off focusing on the nonprofit sector, again, given their focus and insights and experience in co-creating the solution. So we've got a number of research institutions, the University of Waterloo, University of Alberta, University of Sheffield, a number of community organizations and partners all across Canada. And then most recently, we've received 3 years of funding from AgeWell to be able to advance our platform and our network of partners. The team, the founding team is right here, Karen McDonald, Brooks Hanowich, and myself. Amongst the 3 of us, we have a broad cross-section of experience in the nonprofit world, the world of technology, and the world of venture capital, looking at different challenges and solutions. Brooks, for example, is on a number of different organizations and working groups looking at sustainable solutions for poverty, food security, income security. Karen is the executive director for the SAGE Seniors Association, which looks at supporting older workers and seniors across Alberta. And this is MatchWork.
Great. Finished with time to spare. So, okay. Well, with that, we will go straight to the judge Q&A. Does anyone like to start? Martin?
Sure, I can start this time. Just again, it's a really busy space, right? And obviously, you're aiming at a very specific part of it, which I understand. How do you compete? How are you going to create awareness for your organization with these giants that you're going to be competing against?
Great question, Marty. So rather than competing, what we're hoping to do is partner with the Randstans, the LinkedIns, the Bamboo HRs. What we've developed is a proprietary approach towards evaluating what meaningful work looks like for each person. And so through the help of our team and our research partners, we created the model of how do you identify what meaningful work looks like for each person. And what we do is look at 3 main aspects: the people that they're working with, the work that they're doing, and how they get to do the work that they're doing. So this would be a complement to what they're already doing, leveraging their networks. And we already have a pilot of that in terms of our community partners. What we did was to co-create the solution with them and then leverage their networks to then leverage the pilot customers able to get on board. So they evangelize the solution and the network becomes part of our ecosystem.
Thank you.
Okay, Marie or Greg, do you have any questions?
Yeah, I mean, I guess a very simple question, but would it be, who would be paying the subscriptions then for this software? Like what does the cash flow look like and the revenue streams? How does that work?
Great question. So the end user would be the job seeker, the senior, the older worker in that transition phase. The person paying for that would be right now the nonprofit organizations we work with. So they sign up for annual licenses, and there's 3 different tiers based on the number of job seekers that they're working with. And that way it keeps it accessible to the core audience while still providing value to the organizations. And so the 3 price tiers are $7,500, $15,000, and $25,000 a year. Eventually, as you do go into the API model, that pricing and model will change quite a bit. One question I didn't address was also what we would do if we were to win this competition. One of the things we're hoping to do, again, is to really build out that API infrastructure. And so we've earmarked a portion of that towards developing that side of the technology.
Greg, did you have any questions?
Yeah, I suppose I'm curious about who your target demographic might be for this beyond older adults. Are you targeting a specific segment of the overall workforce, or are you looking for a sort of general catch for most seniors?
Very good question, Greg. When we created MatchWork, the vision was connecting marginalized populations to meaningful work. And it just happens that in our core network, because of Karen, our co-founder, working with seniors, there's been that natural interest around what can we do to support older workers? What can we do to support those who are transitioning from long-term careers into an unknown future? And then also that realization that it's not always because of financial reasons people are looking to continue to work, but also social connections. It's that has allowed us to then focus in on older workers. And then quite interestingly enough with COVID, that renewed focus about what is happening with older workers and with the project with AgeWell is there an opportunity around the caregiving space, whether as recipients of care or becoming caregivers. And so one of the interesting things we're looking at with our research partners is, could we leverage the skills and experience of knowledges of some people within this population towards this sector? And again, looking at the idea of empathy and co-creating a solution with the audience and the given market. Long term, obviously, we want to expand that vision, that MatchWork becomes a meaningful work solution for every person. But having this focus really allows us to hone the solution down.
Can I ask a quick add-on to that? Do we have time, Mike?
Yeah, you have a little bit of time. Go ahead.
So define the value proposition, and what's success to me if I'm purchasing this SaaS system? What am I getting from this? Am I getting the right person for the job? Am I getting somebody who's likely going to be retained for a long time? Am I getting somebody with a specific skill set, or is it something else?
So right now, if you're a nonprofit organization supporting older workers, the key value you'd get is better understanding of your population as a whole and better understanding of each person from the lens of what does success look like for them and what does that roadmap to success looks like. So to give you context, one of our organizations right now is Communities United. They're trying to better understand the unemployed population in a segment of the city. The challenge is, from demographic and data, they have a good sense of the numbers. They don't have a clear sense as to what those barriers to employment are, and conversely, what the solutions are. MatchWork provides that to them. So as a nonprofit, that's what you immediately get. And then as a funder from the government side, you get clarity about what organizations are doing that is actually producing meaningful outcomes and what are the areas they can focus on, especially if you look at older workers. And then for employers, more concretely getting a better sense of, if you have a segment of your team that is in that age range, what can you do to support them? Or conversely, how can you leverage that experience and knowledge you already have and really enhance the capacity of the organization?
Okay. All right. So with that, we are out of time. So thank you, Kenya, for the pitch and for your answers.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. I'm Jessica Yang. I'm CEO and co-founder of Tochtech Technologies. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to present SLEEPSENSE, our newest innovation. It's well known that our long-term care homes are greatly understaffed, and staff are usually overworked and burned out. The staffing ratio challenge is especially bad during the overnight shifts. In some situations, it could be 1:32 ratio. Often, and then the staff is required to perform hourly and bi-hourly visual and beta checks. And often when they are performing this task, the seniors who require care may be missed out. So with SLEEPSENSE installed for each resident, the care staff will be able to respond quicker, triage, and coordinate care work based on the real-time information. So what is TOCH SLEEPSENSE? That TOCH SLEEPSENSE is a mobile phone size device that is placed under one leg of the bed. So it sends a real-time in-off bed status as well as the heart rate and breathing rates to a monitoring station. So the care staff can see all the resident situation in a centralized place. And also the system would send out alerts and notifications directed to the mobile phone users. So that alerts such as it cannot detect the heart rate and breathing rates, or it senses the residents trying to get out of the bed and who may require support. So in a sense, instead of checking in every hour or bi-hourly manually by the staff, the SLEEPSENSE is checking on residents at every second, and it record all the wellness and the movement information. So how the TOCH SLEEPSENSE is different from some of the devices you might be familiar. I know some of the long-term care already using the smart sleeping pads, or you know that some of the wearables can measure the heart rates. The SLEEPSENSE is the only device, I would say, that can reliably report the in, out of bed activity in real time, immediately. And of course, apparently it's not a wearable, so it doesn't require charging, it doesn't require anything from the residents. Everything goes directly to the care staff, so it doesn't awaken residents. And it does the other features like the sleep quality analysis and the incident reporting. So giving all what SleepSense brings, it certainly brings additional assurance for the long-term care, as well as the families. It reduces the falls and also reduce the sleep interruptions from the manual checking, every hour or every other hour. For the industry, certainly it will largely reduce the stress level for the care staff, and also it provides additional information to make their work more efficient, help the manager to mitigate the risk due to the human errors. So how big is this impact we're talking about? Just to highlight one number here, in North America, we're looking at $80 million just in the North America, other areas of the world. How do we reach out to the market? For short term, right now we have 2 long-term care facilities in BC committed to run the trial with us together. And we're also working with a local security company to roll out a service for sleep safety monitoring for home users. So we have a large population of the aging parents at home. For long term, our plan is to go global and working with more business partners, and then partner with manufacturers to integrate our solution to the hospital and care bed as well. We are the core team comprise 8 of us. And in the last 5 years, we have already rolled out, and we basically created 3 different products and rolled out to the market. And all our products focus on the aging population. So taking the opportunity of stand out in this competition, it will certainly help people know our product, know SleepSense and join a pilot. And we can run larger scale of the pilot with the funding possibilities, and we can go global.
Okay.
So I talked about
Sorry, Jessica.
that's our issue. Thank you for your support.
No problem. So yeah, with that, we'll go to the judges Q&A. Does anyone want to start now? Marie?
Sure, I can start again. Jessica, thank you. How much is a product? How much is a SleepSense?
So we haven't really finalized the price yet, but based on our own, because we created based on our own cost, the hardware we're looking at selling to business under, let's say, under $50-$60, but we're looking at some subscription fee to cover the ongoing cloud services.
So $50-$60 plus a monthly fee. Any idea what the monthly fee is?
The monthly fee we're looking at about $10 to $15 per month range. So we want to make it very affordable to the aging group and then the business.
So that you get the sensor that goes under the leg and a bed and a pad that goes under the mattress then? Or does it go above the mattress?
It goes under the bed frame.
The small sensor goes under the foot, but you said you measured heart rate and stuff like that. So is there a pad as well then?
No, that's the only one. So I have it here.
Oh.
So this is the pad.
Okay.
So this is the pad, and then you put it under one leg of the bed. Usually it's your head sides, right? And it does everything. Or the technology is basically because the sensor can sense very, very little movement.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
So, I have a couple of questions. So the hardware is very specific to a particular type of bed. I mean, most beds do have, the 4 legs, but when you're looking at long-term care homes, you can have variations, right, of different types of beds and setups. So do you have a way to accommodate that at all?
Yeah, that's a very good question. So we have a special design. You see the cover. It's it's made of rubber, and it has some resistance on it. So it works very well on. Some of them are using the wheel, have 4 wheels, and you can put this one also under. Some of the bed is the frame like a square. So we have tested many different type of beds. The important is you place this one under where it supports the it supports the bed, so it's taking the weight from the bed. Then it works.
And you talked a little bit about your revenue stream for individuals. What about, say, long-term care homes, and they have 100 beds and they want to do this for 100 residents? Do you have different models then for larger scale?
Right now, I think that's something we're also trying to figure out in the trial. Right now, we only provide SaaS mode. So everything is in the cloud. And then from our services that we provide, it works from the smaller scale to the larger scale. So it's very scalable. Basically, if you look at our portal, it allows them kind of tiered management. So they could have each floor, say 20 people in one group to monitor by one person. And then they could have many different groups that they can monitor by different care staff.
So a couple of questions. First is, what do you intend to do with the funds if you're successful with this pitch?
Right now for pilot, a lot of business that with pilot, we are they are looking for free pilots. It will be easy to start. So firstly will allow us to supply all the hardware and our resources to run a large scale of pilots. And secondly, through the pilot, will for sure. As we go through the commercialization phases, so there will be a lot of enhancements and different and enhancement we have to do. So that will allow us to really able to get successfully through the commercialization phase, and then we can do some marketing on it.
Okay, yeah, so that sort of leads into the next question I was going to have was, you have an opportunity both in the commercial space and also in various commercial spaces. Which of these two is the more immediate objective for you and your team to focus on for sales?
In the beginning, it's our main focus is on the long-term care. The consumer segment, it's going to be very slow to ramp up. So basically, that will be our second priority.
Okay, so that takes us to the 5-minute mark. So thank you, Jessica. Thanks for the pitch and for your answers.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Hello, I am Victor, and I'm a postdoctoral fellow at the University of Alberta and CEO of Virtual Gym. Nowadays, technology advances at what can sometimes be considered a scary rate. What is alarming is that some vulnerable sectors of the population, including older adults, who could benefit the most from these new technologies, are left behind. Currently, our life expectancy is longer, and we all desire the best quality of life at every age. Regularly exercise activities can delay or stop physical and cognitive decline. Unfortunately, the current situation got worse when the COVID-19 response forced recreational centers to close and left fewer options to exercise with professional experts. We all been affected by this pandemic, and we are trying to adjust the best we can to regular activities. However, we recognize the older adults are especially vulnerable to adopt new technologies in their daily activities. In the past, video games demonstrate to be an effective way to promote exercise between seniors. First, the Wii Innovative Control was very popular, physically activating seniors. Together with the Kinect full body tracking provide a new interactive paradigm. Every day, new devices are more immersive with accurate tracking and affordable prices. And yet, it is difficult to find content that is properly designed for other adults. This is one of the motivations for creating Virtual Gym. Virtual Gym is an exercise platform designed to connect caregivers with older adults. It provides a game-like experience, especially designed for older adults, that make the exercise more engaging and fun. Their positive experience motivates them to stick with the exercise regime and benefit from physical activity. Think about Virtual Gym as having a personal trainer with you 24/7. Instead, you adapting to the gameplay activity will adapt to you. Embedded in Virtual Gym is an innovative language that caregivers use to prescribe and monitor exercise routines. These are tailored to an individual's needs and capabilities. The personalization process takes into account individual physical and cognitive status to produce challenging yet doable exercise routines. The game's catalog includes a variety of virtual reality and full body tracking for stretching and balance exercises. Here, the user embodies a transparent avatar on the screen, which overlaps a coaching avatar, who demonstrates the exercise based on the caregiver's guidance. The user mimics the coach avatar poses, and platform monitors the user movements to compare with the specifications and provide feedback in real time as needed. We prioritize the privacy of our users, and it is no video or pictures recording during the session. Instead, caregivers can replay the session using an avatar. The virtual reality approach is more immersive and intuitive. Instantly, when the user embodies an avatar in the virtual environment, is intuitive and does not require a detailed explanation. Here, Virtual Gym incorporates 3 categories of games. First, the posture-based transitions such as touching bubbles and play with balloons, where the goals are objects placed in the virtual environment to motivate the users adopting specific postures. Then, the coordination games like climbing the cliff, which requires a coordination with upper limbs, both arms. Finally, the third category incorporates games that are physically demanding and cognitive challenging, with a combination of posture, coordination, and rhythm in a single game, such as the adaptation of the popular game Beat Saber. Virtual Gym is compatible with all devices, all-in-one devices for full body tracking and virtual reality, and yet is not attached to any specific device. It is very easy to integrate devices with similar tracking technology. We have some competitors in the rehabilitation using these technologies and games. However, they are using a different approach to personalize. It's not really a personalization of the interaction, and also the design are not specifically for other adults. We are using a platform online. We are testing the platform online to make it easy to access. The game I just show you is not important of the metaphor of the game, but because it demonstrates the capabilities of the platform creating the personalized activities in different exercises. We expand the language to utilize coordination and rhythm as the part of the prescriptions. We refine the tools and make it easier for caregivers to review exercise sessions. We commit to develop the platform to improve the quality of life of other adults, and other adults are active designers since the first prototype. Thank you.
Thank you, Victor. Now we'll go on to Q&A by the judges. Marty, if you're there to start.
Yeah, sure. I'm not clear 100%. Like, so do you work on the gaming platforms that already exist, like on Xbox, on PlayStation, on Nintendo, or is this a computer downloadable thing?
No, this is a new platform that is available online. We create the games. Now, the part where we create the games, we copy games with similar characteristics like rhythm and coordination, because we try first what is working with seniors and then create our own copyright games. But it's a complete platform created around these characteristics of games.
Right. So I would use a computer then, or I would have to buy one of these devices you have on the screen then to be able to get it to work?
Yes, it's compatible with all-in-one devices like the Oculus Quest or the Orbit Percy, which substitute the Kinect and the Oculus Rift, because they were more expensive, like around $3,000, $5,000 to get one of these computers to get this running. But in the all-in-one devices, For 500, you can have a complete set of setup or on virtual reality or full body tracking.
Okay, thank you.
I have a couple questions. So are you looking to sell this to individual seniors or seniors, senior communities for their health and wellness programs? Or what's the market that you're targeting, and how are you planning to get the word out there?
Ideally, we are looking for long-term care facilities or senior residents, where there is one person can take care of all the exercise descriptions, and they can play it on demand, on their own rooms or in a specific place inside the facility. The way we are looking to getting seniors like in these games is we receive HWell funding for buying equipment, and this equipment we are going to lend this equipment to the facilities so they can use it and tell us what they like, what they don't like, and we can create new set of games for seniors.
Okay, and my next question, some of the movements that I'm seeing are, could be a bit precarious for seniors who might be unstable. And with the virtual reality, how did you work with a physiotherapist to develop some of these movements, ensure that they're safe for seniors and that they're not going to cause more harm than?
Yes, it doesn't show up in the video, but we are working with the physicians for creating the whole sequence of exercise. So in the beginning, you start sitting down exercises, and it's very simple, just reaching out, and then the system start knowing the user, and by then they start getting more complex when they feel safe. So the prescription that we have came from physicians that created this at the beginning. That's why they look so simple, but it can be more complicated movements, but depending on the user.
Have you had any conversations with hardware manufacturers about taking your technology and licensing it to them and letting them take the rest of the mile of getting both the hardware and the platform into the hands of consumers?
No, not yet. The only approach that we have is with some senior home cares, like HWell. In Churchill, Rivera, and Ashburn, but we haven't having conversations with some device provider.
Yeah, my concern is you might be in a bit of a difficult development position where you need to have a system that is adaptable to a number of different hardware architectures, full stop, and then various different deployments of the architectures on top of that. And then on top of that, different considerations inside of different care facilities or other commercial environments.
Yes, so in our approach, the way that we design the software is this: you can take off these devices and put a new one in there. We select these ones because are the less expensive, more affordable, and it's easy to deploy. But like in this month, they say it's going to come a new Oculus Quest on the market. We can just take that out and get that in question of minutes. But because of the way we design the software, it's just like putting in one device. We can connect also like the watch for fitness. We can connect all the devices, including in the platform.
Yeah, I mean, you can, but remember that every sale that you make is also something that you're going to have to support as well. So you're going to have a QA team that has to figure out how to provide end user support for 10 different major platforms.
Yes, you are right about that.
Okay, so that takes us to the end of the Q&A. So thank you very much, Victor, for the pitch and for your answers to those questions. So that takes us through all of our pitches, and now the judges will have the task of doing some deliberating and helping with the selection of a winner, and that will be announced once that is completed. So thank you again to the judges for your time, and for all of our finalists for sharing their great innovations and their passion for what they're doing. And looking forward to seeing who wins. The judges' deliberations are now over, And firstly, I'd like to thank our judges for making this competition possible. Thank you to Marie Lashley of Chartwell Retirement Residences, Greg Christie of Digital Health Circle, and Martin Vandervelden of Best Buy Canada. Thank you for your insightful questions and for the advice that would have arrived to the finalists through this interaction. It was great to have you be a part of this competition. I'd also like to thank the finalists who we wish all the best to in your business venture, and we hope that we see success for you coming in the future, and we hope that we hear about it as well. With that, I'd like to announce the winner of the third part of the 2020 AgeWell National Impact Challenge. The winner will receive $20,000 in cash, as well as support through the AgeWell Startup Affiliate Program. And the winner is Tochtech. Congratulations to the team at Tochtech. We look forward to seeing what you're going to do in the future and to continue to engage with you. And we hope that your technology can make that impact in the lives of older adults that I know all finalists are passionate about. With that, I'd like to thank everyone for taking the time to view our competition, and we hope that for those that are interested in making that difference in the lives of older adults and caregivers, you do take the time to also reach out to us at AgeWell so we can continue to work together to make that impact and to make sure that life for older adults and those who care for them can improve in the future. Thank you and take care.